Deep in the heart of London's Natural History Museum, the exhibits are coming to life.
I'm surrounded by fireflies. Oh, wow.
Visions of Nature takes visitors to the year 2125 to see how the natural world is adapting to climate change and human behaviour.
When people think about museums, they often associate them with the past, maybe the present. The great thing about this exhibition and this experience is it gives us a chance to talk about the future and to present a view of the future. We've worked really, really closely with the museum scientists to make sure that that future is credible and is based on a scientific, rigorous process. And whilst none of us know what's going to happen in the future, you know, these are imagined scenarios, but they are scenarios based on current science, current thinking about what the really big challenges facing the planet are, but also what the most beneficial actions to try and address them are.
I'm eye to eye with a cuttlefish.
This is a mixed reality experience. Some of the exhibition is physically here, but the real stars come out when you look through Microsoft's HoloLens 2 headset.
The great thing about using technology in this way is that it allows you to encounter nature and encounter these species in a way that most of us, to be honest, are probably quite unlikely to experience in our lives. But by giving people the chance to encounter nature in that way, hopefully it can encourage us even more to think about the sort of positive actions that we can take.
There are 8 ecosystems to explore, from the Scottish Highlands to the deepest oceans.
I'm just about to free this giant coconut crab from a bit of plastic that's got tangled in. Yes, there we go. Result. The coconut crab is the world's largest terrestrial invertebrate. What that means is whether they're born and they grow up in the water, they then move to land, and adult crabs can't actually swim and they can't go back into the ocean. It's a weird quirk of evolution. They're also absolutely enormous, and apparently their pincers are strong enough that they can crack coconuts. So I'm going to stay out of the way of this guy.
Scientists don't know exactly how animals may adapt and change in the next 100 years, but this exhibition illustrates likely scenarios. For example, as waters warm, belugas and narwhals may move into the same environment and interbreed, producing new offspring called narlugas. Scientists were also asked to predict what might happen to these strange creatures.
Oh, here comes a Kugo.
Kugo is known as a flying lemur, but they don't fly and they're not lemurs. So they're a very unusual mammal. They're sort of out there on their own. So Kulugos normally prefer dense forest, and they have to have trees relatively closely spaced together in order to be able to move about, because they glide and not fly, and they need to be able to get up to a certain height and then use that height and do a long glide. And the idea is that as deforestation carries on, there will be less and less trees, and they'll be further apart, and also potentially trees won't be as tall. But they can, in theory, glide tens and potentially up to 100 metres or more. So the idea is that some of them that are better at gliding could survive in the future with less forest.
This is the other beautiful thing about the HoloLens. It can recognise your hands, so when you put them out, you can interact. I just had a firefly land on my finger.
The device we're using, the HoloLens, has a lot of sensors, and what we love, this technology, actually you can interact with the headset itself, with your fingers. So we try to design some action from the visitors that are linked to their action, because when you act on something, you are into the story, and when you interact, you have an impact. And that's what we want to do with that technology, to have the visitor have an impact of the story.
I think if you really want to enjoy a mixed reality experience, you have to be a bit forgiving, because the technology is still evolving. For example, the images don't go right the way to the edge of your vision. They're kind of in these smallish windows in the center of what you can see. So sometimes an animal might drop off out of this rectangle. But if you can get over that, it is a really immersive experience. As you turn your head, as you move around, all the creatures stay absolutely locked in the 3D space they're supposed to be in. And it is an immersive experience.
Hello.
I was quite surprised at how hopeful this experience is. I was expecting to put on this headset and see that the world of 2125 is just Armageddon. But actually, what this tells you is that, yes, things are getting worse, but if we start to take action now, in 100 years' time, we could have improved things. The world will look different, species will have reacted in different ways, but we may very well be able to pull things back from the brink.
We've really consciously tried to project a hopeful message around it. It's really easy to feel disempowered by the sheer scale of the crisis that the planet and the natural world is facing. And that can sometimes translate into apathy, actually, because it just feels too big a problem to be able to do anything about. What we've really tried to do with this exhibition is show that there are positive actions that we can take.